meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly.
Welcome to the Village of Wappinger Falls monthly meeting of the Mayor and Board of Trustees for today, Wednesday, October 12th, 2022. Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any recognitions, announcements, or special events, Clerk?
Not that I'm aware of, Mayor.
Okay, you can do the roll call.
Mayor Sereno,
Present.
Trustee Sadati, absent. Trustee Telisek,
Present.
Trustee Nesnick,
Present.
Trustee Huber,
Present.
Trustee Ruffin,
Present.
Trustee Lauricella, absent. Village Attorney Wallace.
Here.
Action on minutes, September 14th and September 28th.
Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mayor votes aye.
Carried. Authorization to pay bills as per approved warrant.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor votes aye.
Carried. We had a hearing for the comp plan last month, and we kept it open. I don't know if there's any more input. We're going to continue to keep the hearing open because we're waiting for the county to respond.
Okay,
That's correct.
that's fine.
Okay. Regular session. Your approval to hire William Rizzo, who is, upon his completion of Phase 2, you would like to hire him as part-time police officer. We have a motion to hire him after completion of Phase 2, part-time.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye.
Carried. Curfew, this we do every year. It's an executive order from the mayor. By executive order of the mayor, the Village of Wappinger Falls, please be advised that during the evening hours of October 30th, 2022, through November 1st, 2022, between the hours of 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. the following day, it shall be unlawful for any minor to congregate, loiter, wander, remain, or play in or upon any public place, public park, public area, street, road, or highway in the village. The terms remain and loiter mean linger or stay, or number 2, fail to leave premises when requested to do so by a police officer, an owner, operator, or other person in control of the premises. Minor means under the age of 18 years of age. That will be in the paper. Okay, I have a resolution that you're going to need to vote on. Approve resolution designating call of election. Resolution by the Village Board of Trustees of the Village of Wappingers Falls, New York as follows. Section 1, that pursuant to Section 504 of the election law, the general village election of and for said village will be held on the 21st day of March 2023, and that the polls shall be open for voting between the hours of 10 a.m. and 9 p.m. Section 2, that the said village has been divided into 3 election wards, and that a description of said wards, together with the polling place for each ward, is as follows. Election Ward 1. All that portion of said village lying north and west of the Wappinger Creek. The polling place in Ward 1 is the Village Hall, 2582 South Avenue in the village. That's in this room, courtroom. Election Ward 2. Election Ward 2 is comprised of all that portion of said village generally bounded as follows. On the south by the village boundary line, on the north by East Main Street, on the east by South Avenue, and on the west by the Wappinger Creek. And the polling place is Village Hall, 2582 South Avenue in said village. Election Ward 3. All that portion of village lying outside the 2 wards above described, the polling place is Village Hall, 2582 South Avenue. This resolution shall take place immediately. I need a motion.
I'll make that.
Second.
Second was Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye.
Approve resolution designating offices to be filled at the next general election. Resolution designating offices to be filled at the next general election and the terms thereof. Be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Wappingers Falls, New York as follows. Section 1, that pursuant to subdivision 3A of section 15-104 of the election law, this board does hereby designate the offices to be filled at the general election on March 21st, 2023, and the respective terms of such offices as follows. Mayor, 2 years. Trustee, First Ward, 2 years. Trustee, Second Ward, 2 years. Trustee, Third Ward, 2 years. Justice, 4 years. I need approval.
I'll make it.
Second.
Second.
Is that Jim?
No, that was Jen.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye.
At last week's, 2 weeks ago, we went out to bid for the equipment and labor, and we received 2 bids. And it was unsure at that point whether they were going to hire both or just one. And it was tabled to tonight, waiting that decision. Does Highway have a decision?
Well,
No.
Can we have a motion to table this to the next meeting, which will be October 30th?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
So, if there's an emergency, are we still using last year's person?
Yep.
Okay, just double checking.
Yep. Okay, we'll table that to October 30, 6 o'clock. Accept the resignation of Police Assistant Michelle Chianti. She's already gone, but can we have a motion to accept her resignation?
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Second, but never.
John Tilishek.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor
Aye.
votes aye.
I have accepted correspondence, or the village has correspondence from William T. Garner Company, voted in Valeria Barangan Gonzabag as a member of the company and department. Mike Brown is returned to active status.
I'll make it.
So I have a motion to accept the correspondence. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by trustee Ruffin. All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor votes aye.
Carried. Discussion 20 Franklandale Avenue.
Well, I've had some complaints about this property. I don't want to mention the name of the property owner, but they've let the house, that side of the duplex, get into disrepair, and it's been that way for some time. Not only the inside of the house and the light, but the outside most notably. And it is in horrible condition. And so I know we had a policy that if they don't clean it up, we've used the highway department at times to go in and straighten it up and then send them the bill. And if they don't pay the bill, it goes on the taxes. So
Have we sent any notices?
I think we should send a notice and see if in fact they answer the notice, and if they don't answer the notice, then the highway department will go in and do what they have to do. Go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah, what happened is Brian.
Just state your name, we know.
My name's Robert Marshall. Brian sent a certified letter to him, he had to. And once he got it kicked back to him, so that made it okay for him to start the procedure of having him either try to get in court and plus have the highway guys take over on it. So Brian had to send the letter, he got it back and received it, and because he just couldn't go in and do it. So that made everything, so he's following the proper procedure, so Brian knows, and he said he would use all to see if the highway, guys, whoever's on highway would go in and take care of it.
So that's at the step we're at right now?
It's 2 years, yeah. 2 years, nobody's done nothing there. Not even shovel.
Okay, so we are waiting for Mr. Murphy, is that your?
He got the letter back and he's supposed to be talking to you, Mayor, or something about getting the highway guys, whoever's on highway, to get them to go up and take care of the property.
Okay. So
Make it presentable.
In the past, Mayor, we've actually had the board convene at the end of like a workshop session, and the board has voted collectively to take action to authorize, after hearing the expenditures of what it would cost. I don't know if it would be done in-house or if it would be done through a third-party contractor, but I think our code calls for either. But if it's something that it can be done in-house, there's a cost factor based on the labor rate that we can charge, and it would go against the taxes.
Yeah, well, we would give him the burden rate, that's right.
Yeah.
I know we did it for that O'Shea property.
We used to do it in the past for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are waiting some correspondence or conversation from the building inspector?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll see about arranging that. Monthly updates, police. Finance.
Since trustee Lauricella isn't here, I'd like to speak as I'm part of the finance committee. It came to my attention last night at the water board meeting that one of the attendees there had pointed out that their taxes were shown as unpaid. So I told him I would inquire, and then I inquired this morning, and I realized that my taxes personally are marked as unpaid. So there are also several other people in the village. It seems that they've paid. I've reached out to a few now, and it seems like there are some errors, and that may in part be due to the fact that we have a part-time treasurer who's probably overloaded or inundated with work. And I encourage the mayor to hurry up and please, let's make an appointment for treasurer as soon as possible so we can get that appointment trained and hopefully have these issues rectified, unless, of course, somebody on the board or the finance committee has any other ideas on how to move forward with this, because I think everybody knows those tax numbers from the village are going to be turned over to the county, or is it the town of Wappingers, John, or is it the county at the end of this month?
County will be re-levied.
The county re-levy, yeah. Okay. That's
Next month.
Next month that has, because I gotta be honest with you, my tax check hasn't been cashed either.
Well, there's a
So,
lot of people that paid and they're getting penalties.
So I've been
And the accounts are
asking
open.
for, I paid mine in July. We are
Me
in
too.
October.
This has gotta stop.
This is,
We gotta do
There's a
something.
lot of people,
Can I,
I mean,
One at a time. Let him finish.
there's a lot of people that I looked at on the computer that I know damn well paid their taxes. They're getting hit with penalties and their taxes are still open. I'm one of them. And I don't think you realize if this goes to the county and all these things are wrong and these people are gonna start calling the county, what's the county gonna do? They're gonna kick that re-levy back. And then the people who actually didn't pay, where are they gonna get off scot-free because we can't re-levy because it's so flawed?
That is correct. I was told by Thurston's office that if there's they find 1 or 2 hours, they kick everything back.
Well,
They don't even look at it.
Just at the water board, me and Pete,
Throw it back here.
we're both on that list, so I think this is something you need to address instantly.
this is embarrassing.
It's
We
embarrassing.
gotta hire somebody.
How can the check be cashed and it's not
Being recorded.
recorded? That's
mine wasn't even
Come
cashed.
upstairs, you got a big
Well,
one.
I think you have,
You got a big one
Alice,
upstairs, you got 3 more upstairs.
yours is getting penalties.
I just found that out.
Yeah, I
But
mean-
my check has been
So
cashed.
is mine.
hold it. I think we've got 3 issues here. You have someone who goes in and says maybe, and goes into Anne Marie and drops off her tax bill, and Anne Marie takes the bill and then gives it upstairs, and they take it, and then the next day, maybe the clerk deposits the check. Okay. So, and/or they get a receipt to boot, because in a few of these, they got the receipt.
I've got the receipt to cancel check, and for over a month now, my wife's been bringing this up to you and as treasurer, and it's still nothing. I mean, it can't be that hard to input data that these things have been, they can't even find our check.
And so then, the next phase of the process is that then the treasurer would then check off that the taxes are paid, and then you're done with it, okay? So that's one item. That's one problem with this.
For 50 years, we've been paying village taxes. This is the first year any of this crap has ever come. This is ridiculous. You tell me, oh, they deposit it. Well, if my check is cashed,
This is why we need a
is it in
full-time treasurer.
recorded?
I've said this
Somebody
a month
is doing
ago.
the job.
Okay, hold it, one
3
person
women
at a time.
upstairs.
Or-
Give me a
there's no,
break.
you need a treasurer.
What
You're not
I,
treasurer, you have to have other people help.
They won't let her. They won't let them.
Well, that's ridiculous, somebody
I
has to do
agree.
something. We're falling apart in this village, come on, guys,
Yeah.
please.
What I wanted to raise is, I know people that come here that are qualified to be a treasurer, and they get turned down. We need to get a treasurer, a proper treasurer here, not a weekend treasurer. You need somebody that's gonna be here, because this stuff would not be happening. Even when Mo is here, you've never seen nobody, no paychecks for everything.
Yeah, well, like Kathy said, the other girls in the office would pick up the slack. They're not doing that now,
Yeah, but they have so
Three
much to
women
do,
up
your
there.
wife and them
Step
have so
up.
much to
because
do.
it's not her job, and,
I know.
you know, it is, she can only do so much.
We just stopped dragging our feet and hire a full-time treasurer, we wouldn't have this problem.
Correct.
Exactly.
This village is like Kathy Mizuki said, this village is falling apart. We got a lot to go on.
Stop.
We got a
Watches the video and they.
We got a police commissioner that's filling in, thanks to Carl. He's the lieutenant, but he's filling in as a commissioner. We gotta fill that slot. I'm sure he doesn't want that job as much as he wants his lieutenant's job. We got a highway guy that's leaving. We gotta fill that job. We gotta fill these jobs.
Water people, highway people, people are all leaving.
These jobs gotta be filled. We raised the taxes 8% this year. And we're not doing our due diligence for the people of the village of Wappinger Falls.
It's pretty bad though when they can't even find a check that was deposited.
Well, not only do we have to train them, all right, it's gonna take time. And Bobby and I were talking before this meeting. Bobby, you know, I know, we all know. This training period might take 3 months. There's 2 computer systems that the new treasurer is gonna have to learn, as well as go back through Excel and other breadcrumbs left behind from the other treasurer. It is going to take months to get back on track.
If you find a good treasurer, and I know a couple that came here, and a good treasurer, you don't have to train nothing. Just say, listen, this is that, they'll take over.
That
She'll take over.
we haven't had one applicant
It's not so much
with that computer experience.
It's for
Get rid of it.
them to learn the new system.
The new system,
Go back to Hemmings.
What is the problem that we can't keep help here anymore? What's going on?
What's gonna go on with these penalties that I'm hearing?
John, just so you know, John, there's 2 good friends of yours that, on your street, that I know pay their bills. They're getting the penalties right now.
You're saying getting the penalties.
If you look
Are
at,
they
you can go on.
sending me a bill
No,
for
they're just
penalty?
adding you a penalty, so now what they'll do is, you're on a re-levy list, so am I. They'll send this up to the county. Not only will you get the penalty, but the original tax amount that you paid,
That's not.
re-levied to the county. I mean, the treasurer asked my wife to give us another check. What do you mean give us another check? I already gave you a check, you cashed it.
Exactly.
They can't find your check.
So you're saying it goes to the county, then what happens?
Then you're gonna call the county and say, I already paid it, here's my canceled check and here's my paid receipt. And the county's gonna say, this is a stupid re-levy, and they're gonna give it back to us. And then the people who didn't pay, who really didn't pay, God knows. And then what's that do to your budget next year? If we don't get this money in this year from re-levy, what's that do with our budget? Now we're gonna have an even shorter budget next year, because we didn't get the money from last year. And then, if the re-levy's flawed, we won't get our money from last year till 2 years.
It boils down that you do need a treasurer, not a weekend, a full-time treasurer here.
Well, it's just ridiculous, even with the water, that got all
We can't even
messed
drink the
up.
water. Everybody buys water, bottled water. We don't even drink the water.
It's ridiculous.
What's going on with the water? We can't even drink it.
Well, you can drink it.
One well.
No, it's terrible. I was gonna bring my
Board of
blood
Health
filter in tonight to
The
show
Board
you
of
it
Health
was
says
black.
the water
Black.
is acceptable.
Take a send somebody over to do a sample, that's all.
You know, it's sad that you have to say it's acceptable for the amount of money we paid
Okay.
for that new water plant. And 50 years ago, whenever they tested any of the village water, it was fine.
We had the best
We were
Now
number
we
one.
have
In Dutchess
all
County.
this
for years.
state of the art, and
We have to
it's,
buy bottled water. We can't even drink the water.
Somebody took the filter out of the plant when it was built, it was not put in.
It's always somebody's fault. It's crazy.
The filter was not put in. It was a
My
filter and
filter
they
we
didn't put
changed the
it.
other day. It's black.
Oh, I've seen it.
And I'm paying
Red.
more
Kenny
money.
was running today.
Are you done with the finance?
Yes, trustee Huber?
I can't,
You want me?
I'm sorry, but
Fire?
it just burns my heart.
Well, yeah.
Highway,
So I guess
do you have anything on highway?
So we all got an email for highway, and they did interviews. I would like to do water and highway and talk about the interviews at the end of the meeting, not so much during that. I don't have anything on highway because I don't sit on highway anymore.
Fire and Lake.
Lake, I'll start off with Lake. So they took the biochar socks out of the lake. They were sampled, tested, and we're waiting to hear back on the report of how everything was. Lori was supposed to get a hold of Raul, the engineer. I forget his last name, but maybe have him come to the workshop meeting for this month to explain all that stuff on the biochar socks.
Biochar, all right.
Yep.
Yep.
And we had 29 calls for the month of September. We had one structure fire on West Street, and it was a good stop by all. Station 1 and Station 2, we had mutual aid coming. And that's all I got on fire.
On safety, I pointed out a few times that the decorative street lights on West Main Street fell down. One was hit by a car, wind blew another one down, and I think another one just kind of fell down on its own. And what it did was it left the stub of the street light in the walkway, sidewalk, going up the hill on West Main, which could be a trip hazard. So what the trustees did last month was arranged, Trustee Sadati and Pete Paggi arranged to meet there with the electrician, the village electrician, and the village engineer to see what needs to be done to remove those bases. I think there's 4 of them. So they came to an agreement that the electrician, in fact, called me today. He's going to start tomorrow, locating the boxes. You know the boxes that are from the bicycle shop?
Yeah.
There. That controls a couple of them. The one up by Franny Reese Park, behind the Cobbler building, controls a couple of them. So he's got to figure out which ones they are. Now, there is still one pole there that's leaning toward a window in a building. That's going to have to come down. So all these decorative lamps on the right side going up, they're exposed to traffic. The ones on the other side are okay because they have the parking lane and they're pretty much protected. Oh, snowplow knocked one down.
Be any more hazardous than that sidewalk.
Well, that's another thing. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. So what they have to do is turn off the electric to them, make sure the electric's off, saw cut around it, and put a plate over it. Because they're wired in series. You can't just cut it and fill it in with cement. You still got to have it till the other ones fall down. So that's the only safety thing that I'm working on at the moment. All the other problems we had with safety in the other buildings have all been corrected. So that's a plus for us. As far as the sidewalk on the right-hand side going up the hill, that was damaged. We're not anywhere with that at the moment. That's all I have to say on the safety report. Recreation.
Recreation is planning for the Halloween trunk or treat, which will take place on 10/22. I'd like to offer thanks to trustees Laricella and Ruffin, who have donated to help offset some of the costs for that. We are also looking at changing the display in the cobbler shop. We've got local artists who are doing stuff in that, and we're hoping to get a new one in for October and November. And we are also beginning to discuss the decorations for Mizzier Park for the holiday season. That's what I've got.
Personnel, Trustee Nesnick.
Well, as you know, we are in the hunt for a treasurer,
Irony.
highway, and police commissioner. So we obviously have a lot of work to do.
Okay, I placed all the ads in the paper.
I got something on water we talked
Oh,
about yesterday, we
okay.
touched on,
Yep.
maybe. The
Yep.
people in TV land can. So yesterday we talked about water meters. Some are not being read correctly. We're trying to get into the house to read the water meters. If we cannot read if we're not gonna let us in the house, the people who we wanna get in contact with, they're gonna get a letter. And you have 10 days to notify us, I think it is. And if he don't notify us, we are shutting your water off as per our code.
They don't
I
have to
missed what
read
you
out.
said, Ken.
What's that?
I missed what you were saying.
So the water meter in your house, the meter in your the water that comes in your house,
Yeah,
there's a few houses in the village that are giving us bad readings, or no readings at all. So the water department wants to go and check the meter and read it. We're gonna send out a letter, and you have to make an appointment with us, and if not, we are gonna be shutting your water off as per the village code.
Some of these people are over a year. They won't let us fix the meter.
I don't know. Can't make this up, can you?
26 people.
Okay,
There's about 25 to 30.
Yeah, he said 20, I think he said 26 people, they refused to let us fix the meter, or go in and see what's wrong with the meter. So they're getting base water bills, and we can't get in their houses to fix our meters. They're refusing us any contact, so.
Yeah.
The people that are having problems with the meter, they're being notified?
We're gonna be notified, yes.
They've been notified.
They've been notified. We're gonna send out
So if I
another,
get a letter, then I'm okay.
you didn't get a letter, you're all right.
Okay.
They're gonna send out another batch, and that's it.
They just walk.
I haven't answered
Yeah,
either.
you
I didn't get a
It's
letter,
only-
my tax is not being paid either.
do we have anything on Tri-Muni, Mayor?
No. Just had the meeting. They just talk about the issues at the plant. And eventually, it's probably a couple years out where they're gonna try to do a major overhaul, but not immediately right now.
Okay, I was made,
I know our village share of that overhaul is $4 million.
okay,
Total of $11 million. For when the time comes.
it was brought to my attention that the police department would like the board to approve us pulling a canvas list from Dutchess County for a hourly police officer. An hourly police officer that's different from a full-time one or a part-time one, as the hourly one can work up to 39 hours and not be full-time. So can I have a motion to pull that list?
I'll make the motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Mayor votes aye.
Carried. That concludes the printed portion of the agenda. Wait,
Yeah, Robert Marshall. Listen, John, is there any way to get somebody to make a motion to get a part-time for Brian and then make a motion to get a full-time treasurer?
Well, the full-time treasurer, we know we're looking at the treasurer position.
Okay, are you taking applications?
Yes, and we've been doing interviews.
That
We had it in a while?
That was last week.
You got an interview?
Did you get anybody yet?
Pardon?
When was the last interview?
You said last month that the
I was there.
following
That was the last
Monday you
interview.
had people that were coming for second
Listen.
interviews.
I'm not gonna have side conversations when the constituents are talking. Whisper it at least, so I don't have to hear it. I couldn't even hear a word that Alice said. Excuse me.
Last month's meeting, you said that following Monday, you were having second interviews with 2 or 3 for treasurer. What happened with that? That's a month ago.
We had those interviews.
And nobody came
We
with it.
thought we had a candidate, she bowed out. Everyone on the committee agreed that this was the best candidate, and then she bowed out. She was worlds above the other 2 candidates.
What was her reasoning?
She didn't give one.
Probably looked into the village.
Yeah.
So, so
all right, he had a part 2 on that request for an assistant to a deputy building inspector, is that what you?
Yes.
Not a deputy, part-time, whatever you want to call him, to help to do this with the garbage cans, the grass, everything that's out of order, fence falling in the street, trees out.
Are you applying?
No,
I thought Brian already had,
they took it away.
No,
No.
Have no money.
didn't get funded this budget year.
Well, by March, can we make it in there at least? And I'm hoping, I'll put me on the agenda for next.
We don't know how much money we have, we don't have a treasurer.
That's why I said I would like next.
That's no laughing matter, but that's
No.
It's the
basically
truth.
It's not.
It's the truth.
It's not.
We can't even tell you that we were gonna do that, because we don't have a treasurer that we've been looking for months and months. We don't have a treasurer, so we cannot tell you what's in the bank, we cannot
even
tell
get a
you.
balance.
We can't do anything.
We have not had
Can't
a
do anything,
finance committee meeting.
since February.
But to answer your specific question, we
No,
hopefully
that-
will have.
Excuse me, hold it. That's not true, Jen.
What?
We did have a balance just before Andrew left.
We did?
Finance meeting, I thought you said. You said you didn't have a finance.
We haven't had a finance meeting since
No,
February.
meeting.
That part is
Forever.
true.
Well, if he did have a balance, he didn't share it with me.
I had a sheet with balances on
You
it.
didn't share it with me.
On the bank accounts, I had a sheet.
If we stop being a laughing stock of Dutchess County down here.
I got you, Mr. Mayor, an Edmunds password, username, and login. You can log in at any time, and you can check things. You have read-only access.
We can't even get a balance in the water department. We don't even know what we can spend. We're spending money, we don't even know how much it's for months.
If I may, to go back to your original question, we can't answer that right now. I would urge you to come back. Hopefully, we'll have a treasurer in the near future, and then we can look at that question for next year. Just,
Yeah, but
we can't answer it now.
a near future,
I can't tell you when.
when I was on the board, it didn't take us but 2 weeks to have a treasurer. Why is it taking 6 months for this board to do that?
Maybe they don't pay enough.
all the money that was paid for taxes, where is it?
Don't know.
Because they don't have a treasurer.
Well, that's bullcrap.
Pete Podgy came up with,
Anybody can go and say, let me see how much money came in for the taxes.
Yes.
I
We
mean,
can,
you know,
we can do that.
Yes,
We've
you
done
can.
that. We've done that. Every water, garbage, and sewer bill that's paid in any given month, we do that. We've got that total. It goes
about
then,
taxes.
the taxes, we can do what they've collected. The problem is if someone paid their taxes and it wasn't reported in the system, it's gonna show unpaid.
Why wasn't
Even
it
though-
reported? No,
hold it.
Rick, why wasn't it reported? I left my taxes, my check, Anne Marie gave me my receipt. Why wasn't that recorded?
Right that day.
It's not recorded by the clerk who takes your money. It's recorded upstairs in the treasurer's office.
Right, it had to go upstairs and the check was cash.
yeah, so was ours.
It was deposited, that's what you mean, it was deposited, right.
Mine was cash, okay? I don't know about your deposit, it had to be deposited for my check to be cashed.
To come
In
back.
my checkbook, my check is cash.
Right.
I check my checkbook every week, and right after I paid the taxes, it was paid.
I believe our
That's my
ex-mayor,
water bills too.
our ex-mayor with all his all keep showing pending, and I know he pays he's always, all his properties, I believe, are still not paid.
So why can't you, when, like with Anne Marie, when she takes the bill, she takes the water bill, she takes the taxes, why can't they train her to record them the day that things come in or the next day? If the things are going upstairs and someone isn't recording them, that's a big problem.
You don't have a treasurer, that's why.
I know, but you have other women up there.
Who's
training them.
who's taking these checks from downstairs to upstairs?
And they just
Anne
sit.
Marie, right?
The treasurer has to put them in the system, it's a new system. They're the only ones that have the logins for that.
And
They
now
don't
someone
get-
else needs to be trained to do
All
it.
right, they were
agree.
upstairs. Who took them to cash them? They're cashed.
Probably the treasurer,
What treasurer?
the one we have.
Train
Who
everyone.
deposits the checks? I don't know.
Train everybody else.
John deposits them, I have no idea.
I go to the bank,
Hold on,
I go to the bank
3-4
Almost.
times a week.
every day, almost every day, right. And the process is whatever the treasurer would give me in a bank book, envelope, I would take. Residential, whatever she collects, I take. And water, whatever she collects, I take.
She's ruined the system.
We don't have a problem with the water or the garbage.
Yep, they're all registered.
Water's
They're
always
fine.
paid money.
They're fine.
Years.
The step that got missed,
Get to where you need the important part.
Hold it, Bobby.
the step that got missed was the treasurer made the deposit, but he didn't update the system.
She didn't put it in the computer. She
So
didn't
your
log
water,
it.
your sewer, and your garbage is
not
getting
she.
logged in.
Not
Your
she.
Taxes have not been. Not everyone.
Listen to what he said carefully, and then you'll get your answer. And then I'll give, if you don't get the answer, I'll tell you the answer.
Tell me.
So, what we,
He said the treasurer didn't update the system. He didn't do the final step. So,
As in
when
the
you
past
get,
treasurer.
when you get your tax bill in the first week in June, you have until the end of the month. Now, I know Donnie, he wants to pay the bill in May, okay? That's how he pays. He'll pay it before it's even comes out.
People like to do
I
that.
pay it before it's
But-
due too.
But you have to understand that last step that's missing. You can take all those checks, everybody, pay their tax bill. And if you don't do the last step,
Of course.
it's gonna be marked unpaid.
You know, yeah, that makes.
And that is.
And
This
Fifty-some years.
this has been known for over a month that this is
How long
going
have you
on.
never had it go on
And
treasurer?
the
2
pro-
weeks?
excuse me, Bobby. The problem, I think, might even be bigger than what we think it is, because I don't know how many of these people from the beginning of June to the end of June who have to pay, who paid their taxes, got entered into the system.
So you have 2 weeks to figure this out. So either the one that's working here now, you better give her extra hours, or see if you
Well,
can figure this out. Because you
If
got
you
2
knew how
weeks
much
for,
money she was making,
Yeah,
I don't
oh.
think you'd offer that up.
well, if not, we
And
don't get our
This has
money.
been a problem for over a month.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we are paying an extraordinary amount of money per hour to have a stand-in treasurer right now, and these basic entries aren't being done. It's not like it just came up. I've been saying for 2 months that my check hasn't been cashed. 2 months.
Wow.
And you're not gonna get a penalty. But
Yes.
I am because
No.
I paid mine.
Well, it's probably not even in the system that
No, some people are getting penalties and some people aren't, which is weird. But it'll still say open. Like, you probably are getting a penalty.
I'm sure I am.
Yeah, she'll get a penalty for, because.
Look, the bottom line is you gotta get a treasurer, period.
We know that.
Period.
I just,
I'll go with number 2.
I just don't understand is why does it take so long?
Yep, we did have a number 2
I've been on this board
choice.
for years, and it never took us this long. Get people in, interview them, get them going, let's go. Swinging doors.
Well, since Kevin just said what he said, I just feel it's my responsibility to say something right now. I know I'm a little angry. But,
Join the crew.
well,
No, go ahead.
I just feel, just for clarity, I want to say this. My daughter actually applied for that position. She was interviewed 3 times, and Kevin just said pick the number 2. I believe at one point she was the number 2. So I just want that known publicly, that my daughter used to work here. My daughter might not have every qualification for this job, but she has parallel and a lot of experience with money and banking. So, for clarity, I don't want that coming back to me.
It should be noted you did not participate in the
I did not participate, I have not been part of any of this process since February
But my
of
point-
this year. If I could just finish, my daughter has applied, she has been interviewed 3 times, and I just want that known for clarity since this is the first time I think we publicly spoke about this.
This is how we do things, Jen.
Yeah, but just listen, I don't understand.
Small village.
If everybody, she's been here, she's gotta learn a new system, get her back in here. We need her here then.
She already knows one of the 2 systems.
Well, then do it, it's not hard, guys.
It's the mayor's appointment. We would do it, but we can't. It's not us. It's the mayor's appointment for this position. We can't do anything about it.
As far as the taxes go, how hard is it to find deposits made of a check and see that it was deposited and go into a system and mark it paid? I'm sure everybody's taxes are not the exact same amount, so the deposits should be easy to find.
So why don't we get together tonight, you guys, make a motion, bring her in for another interview?
No, that's not gonna happen.
Mayor, may I say
At 3.
something? Yes. All right, so what, a similar situation like this, can you just turn that off? A similar situation like this happened in another municipality that I represent. And I'll reach out to the tax collection supervisor over at the Dutchess County Finance Department. I'll alert them as to the problem here, and I will report back to the mayor with a solution and with a summary of my discussion with that supervisor on how this is going to be resolved. In the other situation, it wasn't as widespread or feared to be as widespread as this problem, but in that other town, the people whose taxes were given penalties were given an opportunity to show that it was paid. Upon proof of payment, those taxes, those penalties, those interests, it was taken off at the county level. All right, it's a ministerial thing that has occurred here. It's unfortunate.
But it's a pain in the neck. right?
It's not
To go through
preferred.
all this.
Yeah, it is. It's not
How
preferred.
about this, while you're talking to him, Heather said you could ask possibly for an extension of that re-levy date.
I will ask, and I will report to the mayor.
You know what's sad is I get a phone call from Poughkeepsie once a week
Never.
from very important people that we're laughing stocks down.
We are.
We can't even put a treasure in there. I mean, police department, guys left, nobody's replacing them, highway department, 4 guys. It's very important to get a treasurer here to stop this.
What about lack of return phone calls, lack of return emails, all that stuff?
Yeah, well,
Sometimes your policy is you can't, nobody knows.
All right, that concludes the printed portion of the agenda. Did the board have anything else?
I do. I've actually got a couple things, but I would like to, I don't know if you want to move this to executive session and come out, but I would like to make a motion to hire a gentleman, Zachary Jones for the highway, and Phil Quails for water. This gentleman, Phil Quails, has his operating license.
No, I don't think he has it yet.
No, he has his operating license, or
One he's gotta go for.
you don't have his water license, he has his operating license.
Let's discuss that in executive session, the personnel matter.
Okay. Also, I went for a walk this afternoon, and I had a couple residents stop me about the cameras up on the water tower. I wanna, you were supposed to call the Monday after the last month's meeting, how'd we make out?
I made my call, 2 calls, and I didn't want to get wrangled in other issues, but I made the calls, and I think the individual was fairly agreeable for the cameras to take them down.
That doesn't answer the question.
I will confirm when the cameras are coming down.
All right, because
That's,
I told them I would get back to them, and they know I would. So I want to give them a firm answer, and
According to the attorney, the board can vote to give the water board permission to deal with these instances, just like the water board made the original agreement. Make the motion that the village board gives that permission to the water board. Since the water board made the agreement, give us the permission to deal with this issue now. He won't want to do that, though. That's what the motion you should be making. Why give us a water board?
I don't want to wait another month, so I'll make a motion that
Yeah.
we have to have these cameras down by the end of this month.
Give the water board the permission to go write the letter and say, listen, either take the cameras down, and by the way, stop, unhook your illegal electric connection to our electric that we're paying for, that he knows about and he knows about. You know, if I was to do that without an electrical permit and tie into the village's electric, they'd have me in jail.
So we're paying that.
We're paying his electric, there's all many issues, there's all kinds of
To
issues.
be some needs,
recommend
not
that.
so the village
Turn,
gets
do me a
it.
favor, turn the power over to the water board.
Yeah,
this
we made the
this
original
is a
decision.
contractual matter. It should be discussed in executive session.
It's a runaround, it's a runaround, it's a runaround. I'm not gonna make any more motions or vote on anything in the water board, I'm just gonna refer everything back to you from now on. You guys can make the motions. Why have a water board?
It's a contractual issue.
I know it is, I know it is, and I also know that he said that you guys can give us the power to do it, since we made the original agreement, not we, the
Hey,
water board.
listen,
Not that.
I've been waiting for 3 months
Yeah.
because you selected someone to be your water board chairman,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
he hasn't accepted yet.
Why would anybody accept anything in this village? It's a joke. You can't do anything, you vote on things and nothing happens. Why vote on anything? We've made motions and voted on things and nothing happens. We can't do this, we can't do that. But then we're talking about personnel and hiring people, but we're not supposed to talk about personnel. Why even talk to the water board about these things?
No.
I said it to you before, get rid of the water board, you guys take the
The
power.
water board makes the recommendation.
Yeah, okay. All right, so I'm making a recommendation that you let us deal with issues that are on our water tower, cameras, whatever they are.
I have no objection
Yeah,
to
so
that.
give us the power. It's
I'll
our
make a motion
water
to give the water
tower
board power to deal with the cameras on the water tower.
and the whole agreement.
And the whole agreement.
It's our water tower, it's on our, we made the agreement originally. Why are we not the ones negotiating?
I make a motion to give the water
Yeah, look
board
at, he's
permission
already stopping it now.
to handle this.
No,
He's already stopping it now.
no, he can't, listen,
Yeah, he's already stopping it
second
now.
it. Somebody
Yeah, I will
second
second that motion, so let's make a
Make
decision.
the motion to take me off water, and you can make the motion to take me off recreation, because I'm tired of this bullshit. Pay your taxes, and then you can't even, I mean, they're not paid, it's ridiculous, this place.
it. So now there's a second on the board, so roll call.
Someone earlier said we give it to the end of the month to have the cameras down. Is that something we can do?
Well,
Oh, I know we have a motion on the floor, so.
They did, and there's a second on the board.
It's the water board, John. Let the water board deal with it. That's why they're here.
all right, let's clarify now. We have a motion from trustee Huber.
I'd recommend that you allow me to give the board legal advice in executive session as to this particular contract and this, and giving a water board a contractual authority, you're usurping the Board of Trustees' right and actual statutory obligation.
Listen, what he's doing is giving permission to something they take care of. Not you, not the board. You're going around in circles, Mr. Wallace, and I've seen and I've heard about it before. Now, I'm tired of this. You worked in other municipalities? Where?
Yeah, I have.
Well, just listen to me, one thing. Don't circumvent this, because all you're doing is going
Listen,
around.
I serve the mayor, all right? I understand.
I
If you wanna talk to
understand
me
what you
outside,
do.
that's fine.
I
But
understand.
I'm not gonna have a debate with you.
I don't want to debate you, but don't play these people. This is our village, you don't even live in the village. So let's cut the bull. You can run circles all you want. Let's get the facts out. And if you want, I'll have them the next meeting.
So go back to the original comment here. They have made a motion. They have made a motion and there's been a second that the cameras come down. Now, do you want to listen to the attorney in executive session or do you want to take, or do you want to hold off on the second of the motion of a vote to listen to the attorney or what?
We've been talking about these cameras for months. I do know the water board wanted to cancel the agreement on top of that water tower 3 months ago. And it would take us 3 months to get out of it. We should have been out of it by now, and we're still talking about this. I'm just tired of going around in circles about this. You take a nice stroll through your neighborhood, and constituents come out and talk to us, okay? And I have to give them answers. And I don't want to go back to them and say, well, I don't know, because they don't want to hear that. They voted you in to do stuff. And this is what they want done, so we got to do
I
it.
will address those issues in executive session because I have an inherent problem with 2 items relative to the camera.
Well, I'm going to tell you, what we talk about in the executive session, I'm going back to these constituents and tell them what happened in the executive session. So the rule for an executive session is going to be gone for this part. Because I feel I do need to tell them the truth of what happened at this meeting, because we are turning it off and going to executive session.
You're breaking the rules that have been.
Well, I don't care, so we talk about it now. If I'm gonna break the rule, then we talk about it now, so no one breaks the rules.
I have an inherent problem.
Well then, tell me what I need to tell these constituents, and when you have your executive session, I'll go home. Okay? What should I tell these constituents? That we're not taking the cameras down?
I didn't say that.
Well, I need to know. I need an answer. That's what I want. There's a motion, there's a second.
You heard what I said, that he's agreeable.
Then you should take it down.
May we ask when he's agreeable? Next week, next month, 3 years?
There is other issues.
Like what?
I don't want to compromise a contractual obligation that we have, that we are now in contract negotiations with the individual relative to his contract.
So,
And he,
go ahead.
and he, and don't take my word for it, you can take the attorney's word for it, maybe you don't believe the attorney either, but take the clerk's word for it then. We are not in the driver's seat in these contract negotiations. He is. And so any little thing that could tick him off or anybody off relative to this makes us even worse. That's all.
But the 39 people that pay taxes in this village have no say in the game.
I didn't say that.
Oh, well, I'm saying it. That's what it sounds like to me. The 39 people who have a problem with this camera up there, who signed that petition, they have no say in the game.
Were you one of them who got signatures?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't. I don't live in that neighborhood, but I'm going to stand up for the people in that neighborhood. Okay? Because you know what? They come out and vote for me.
And I think that every one of those people who signed it would sign it under the premise of what was said to them. And so when the petition went around, they would sign it. And oh, by the way, that petition wasn't really legal.
How was it? It's 39 names on a piece of paper saying
The way it was done. And I wasn't gonna argue the point of whether it was legal or not, because the person who walked the petition around signed it.
So they're not allowed to sign?
No. No. The people who walked the petition around, and it doesn't have a date. So I could go at home and put a date on it,
Well,
but the bottom line is.
bottom line is we should listen to the
I-
constituents. That's the bottom
I
line.
did
That's how it
not-
should be.
I did not challenge it, but the individual who walked, I'll say, it around and got most of the names, because I've heard from a couple people, there were 2 people, but that's beside the point. But one of the persons who did it, his name was on that petition.
I just think we
Mayor,
need, I
if
just
I-
think we need to listen to these people, you know?
I understand.
We can't let somebody else crap all over us and we crap all over 39 of them.
I think
That's
the,
just not right to me.
The issue, though, that is before this board, is whether or not this board can actually give the power to contract, which is only the Board of Trustees' power, to its water board of commissioners. And that is a clear violation.
I think the water board commissioner was just asking to write a letter to the gentleman and say, take your cameras down.
No,
So what you're
want-
saying is
you-
we cancel the contract. It's this board's
This board
determination.
cannot give contractual powers of negotiation in something like that. Okay? They can only give the powers that they delegate in the formation of the Water Board of Commissioners, which is to administer and maintain the water system.
So one of the water board members just told us, the Board of Trustees, that you said in a meeting that this board can give them the power to do so, but then in this
That was
meeting.
a total misquote. Okay? Yeah. That person only hears what he wants to hear. Okay? I said that yes, this board can delegate powers that are actually allowable delegation of powers. That is not one of them. He pointed out that the contract was actually signed by somebody on the Water Board of Commissioners. That might be an illegal contract based on the fact that that water board had no right or authority to sign the contract. I don't know who delegated. I wasn't around. Nobody was here in this room when it was signed. In 2002.
Who would actually challenge that, though? This seems like such a moot point.
That's correct.
Who's going to challenge that?
So we can only go by an assumption that it's a valid contract. But at the time that it was, that whoever on this board delegated the Water Board of Commissioners to sign it, it was not a legal act.
So then this.
I would not advise this board.
So then this board can vote to actually nullify that contract as it may not be legal.
Well, I mean, you can vote to cancel that contract. That's that is absolutely your power.
But before we go into that, the issue here is the residents of the first ward are upset about the camera.
Correct.
That is the core issue right now.
Correct.
So, do we have an idea? If I understand you, Mr. Mayor, you have said there's been it's been indicated that they're willing to take the cameras down. Is that correct?
The individual is willing to take the cameras down.
Did they give any indication as to when that might happen?
No.
Can we ask them for an indication of when that might happen?
I can ask.
I mean, if they
I think he
say,
wants something from the individual who just left the room. That's what I think he wants.
It's unacceptable. Why couldn't you just give us an answer right then and there when you talked to the gentleman?
there's not a trick.
Trick question.
Sounds like I'm hoping you'll forget about it. And make a
Who,
mistake.
me?
No, I'm saying, it sounds like to me that I'll take the cameras down, but I'm not gonna give you an answer and hope you forget about it, and this way that I can keep the cameras on. I mean,
No, I'm not forgetting about it.
I'm not saying you.
He wants to trade the cameras for something else, is what you're saying.
Okay, that's not on the table.
Are the cameras showing into people's yards?
I haven't seen it.
On these cameras, why were these cameras put up on the water tower? And how long have they been there?
I don't know how long they've been there. I don't know what they're doing up there. There's 2 cameras. There's one on top of an antenna, well, halfway down the antenna, and there's one on one of the legs under the water tower, under the tank itself. So that camera, I don't know what it's doing, okay? Because the police department goes up there, correct me if I'm wrong, Commissioner, that they go up there and do checks every shift, and they have to report back to headquarters and saying that post checks out okay, or if it doesn't check out okay. So the police department goes up there and checks, so I don't know why you need a camera looking on the ground up there when we go up there every
Wasn't
shift.
that camera put up there to do some sort of advertisement for a grant or a event? Wasn't that set up by the business association?
I think so.
I think it was an agreement with the business association that was making some sort of an overview shot of the village. They needed the picture for that.
I mean, I wouldn't want it
I think that's how it all
in
started.
some jar looking
I think it has the
at
whether it's directed into people's houses, I don't know, but I think it has the capability to do so. So with that being said, they need to come
Then
down.
they would, then I don't blame them for being upset.
If we don't have the ability to take them down, do we have the ability to send somebody up there and block
Spray
them?
paint and block.
Put a piece of wood in front of them.
Spray paint the cameras.
It's the board's tower.
You didn't hear that, Carl.
It's our tower, so we'll do what we want with
What
it.
are you talking about? Yeah, we own it. The village owns it. We each own a little piece of it.
So let me get back to the question. You made a motion and there was a second. Do you want to
Reframe your motion.
rescind and refrain and reword your motion? What do you want to do? Or do you want to listen to the attorney on legal counsel?
I am not gonna go into an executive session and have to report back to people and not give them. So if I'm gonna go against the rules of the executive session, then I'm out of the executive session. Okay? I wanna be straight up forward. I'm gonna be straight up forward with you, just like my constituents. I'm not gonna beat around the bush with anybody. It gets you nowhere when you beat around the bush, okay? It comes back and haunts you.
Yep.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'm not reframing, I'm keeping it the way it is. That's it, done. If the board doesn't want to vote my way, then fine. You can hear out the attorney and the mayor while I go home. But just let me deal with my business before we go deal with that stuff.
I just said what I had to say. What I would have said in the executive session, I just said. I gave the advice to the board, so there's no need to go.
Okay.
Now, can I sue the village for defamation of character for not giving me a penalty?
For what?
For accusing me of not paying my bill?
Let's finish this part first. We have a motion on the floor.
There's a motion and a second.
We got a second.
Can you you're just gonna have to repeat it, because I don't know.
The motion is to give the owner of the camera 30 days to remove it. That was made by trustee Huber, seconded by trustee Ruppin.
That I'm fine with.
I'll
So
agree with that.
I thought it was originally to give power over to the water board, but it's not, it's to
If it's
to
30
remove the
days,
camera.
that's fine.
Yeah, it's not.
You can't give power.
But that's what I thought it was originally, but if it's just to have it removed in 30 days,
So, we have a motion, we have a second. Roll call. Trustee Huber,
Aye.
trustee Ruffin,
Aye.
trustee Nesnick,
Aye.
trustee Teleshek.
All right.
Carried. Okay,
4 carries the day.
It does.
okay. If there are no other, you want to know why you're showing up as not paid? Is that,
That's what they're telling me.
I didn't know, I didn't hear your name, but, okay. What's your question? Are you going to get a penalty?
She can sue the board for defamation.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that. Are you sure you're showing not paid?
Yep. We're sure she's showing not paid.
Okay. I can't answer. Kathy has a question.
Yes.
Wait, what's the name of that chicken place that wants to come in on the corner? Kennedy? Is that coming in? Do we know?
Kennedy Fried Chicken?
Yeah.
Supposedly, yes. With the American flag, the building.
Yeah.
Yeah, supposedly, yes.
Yeah, they're doing work in there.
Okay.
We're getting a Popeyes too.
Oh, good.
Okay, if there are no longer any questions or anything, Commissioner,
Romanelli's.
can we have a motion to go into executive session?
I move we go into executive session.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Kevin?
So, listen,
Carrie?
go, you. This is